Hello there, guys. Once in a while, you stumble upon these extra genius chess studies, and this is one of them. It might not look like much right now, but stay with me to the end of this video. You will see a lot of traps, a lot of twists and turns, and amazing moves. So, what are we looking at here? Well, it's white to move, and we are winning this. We have a pawn here, one step away from promotion, and of course, this rook will do everything he can to stop this pawn, and the king is also close. Our king is not so close. So, with that information, pause the video now and try to find the full variation for white to win this. If you can't see it, try to see the first steps, and then there will be lots of more chances to pause the video later on. All right, go ahead. And welcome back. Okay, we have some traps right away that we shouldn't fall into. So the obvious move of promoting our pawn leads to immediate draw. Black will simply sacrifice his rook on this one and then play king g4. This pawn will fall, and obviously we don't have mating material. So we have to find something else. Okay, bishop e6 looks like a good move. We are attacking the rook. We are clearing off the black king so he cannot come closer to this pawn, and we are still threatening this in a good time. But this is also a quick draw. Black will start with moving his rook away from threat, give a check, and then follow up with king f6, attacking the bishop, attacking the pawn. Obviously, we cannot protect them both unless we promote. But this is still a simple draw. We take, and now black plays king f5. So, preventing our bishop to come to e5, to e6, I mean. And also we cannot stop king g4 and then take the pawn in two moves from here. Our king is still too far away. So this is a quick draw, and we shouldn't fall into that trap either. Okay, so what are we looking at then? Okay, the bishop moves doesn't help. Something like this doesn't help either. He can do, he can not fall into this trap because then we go back, of course, with a check and take the rook. But he will do the same thing. Maybe give a check first and then go down and just collect this pawn, and that's a draw. This pawn will never be able to promote without black sacrificing the rook on it. Okay, so what about moving our king closer? To start with that, it couldn't be bad, can it? Well, it's a draw at the same way we looked at it. Black will play king f6 or g6, doesn't matter. Now it's obvious we have to move this pawn, and it's gonna be the same way as before. The king comes to f5, and we looked at this. We cannot stop him from taking our g pawn, and it's a draw. So everything looks like a draw. What are we doing then? Well, of course, we're gonna push this pawn. This is the correct starting move. It's not easy to find. g4. The obvious threat, of course, black, if he takes it, well, he'll lose the rook, and he cannot stop this pawn after that. And the thing is, our bishop is still here. It's protecting the b8 square, so we cannot give a check there. Can give a check down here, but that's totally inappropriate, so to say. It doesn't give black anything. So we have to find something else. And black wants to keep his rook on the 8th rank, of course. He has to stop the g8 square from us from promoting. He has to have the chance to sacrifice his rook there. So it's a pretty obvious move. Black will play rook b8. So it blocks our king out. We cannot come out on the b file. Can only stay on the a file. And we are still not able, of course, to promote here. Then we just take it back, and, well, we lose our pawn. So what will we do after rook b8? Well, Now he's threatening to take this pawn, so the next move is fairly simple to see. Now we play bishop e6. We're protecting here, and we just wait for and see what black will do. Now, look at this. If black now attacks here, well, it's a big difference than before because this pawn is now blocking the king to come to f5, which means now we can promote, let black sacrifice his rook, and when it comes down to g5, well, then we just go back. And now we protect the pawn, and we have plenty of time to move our king up here, and easy win for white. That means that after bishop to e5, black cannot play the king to f6. Same will happen if he goes to g6 or h6. So what can he do? Well, if he gives a check, that doesn't help him much. That will just allow our king to come closer. So he doesn't want to do that. He want to stay here, and he want to keep close to this pawn. So black finds this defense plan here to play king f4, and now just go back and forth with his king here, blocking us from promoting. That will lead to a rook sacrifice and then take our pawn. So he wants to go back and forth with his king, keep his rook here, and just keep everything a draw. But we have a plan, of course. Can you see it? Pause the video again if you need to, and to find the winning plan for white from here. Go ahead. Okay, did you find it? Well, we're not gonna rush anything. As said, the black king must go back and forth here. The rook has to stay. So we will just let him do that. And we will wander with our king all the way up and attacking his rook. And black cannot deviate from this plan if he does anything else, like moving his rook with a check, or perhaps so at some point moving the rook to e8 to attack our bishop. It doesn't help. This is not a threat. We can just move our king. We have to watch out not to be checked, because this is not a threat. He cannot take the bishop. This will just allow our king to come closer. So he has to stay on b8 and just wait for his doom, so to speak. So we continue like this, and then we're gonna get into this position. King a7. Now attacking the rook. We are forcing him to move. But now he will play rook e8. And he's not really threatening the bishop here unless we move our king to the 6th rank somewhere. But he's definitely threatening rook e7 check, and followed by taking the pawn with his rook. And that will not lead to victory for white, obviously. So we have to address this. So obviously we cannot move the king anywhere. This will be disastrous. We will lose this. We'll take this with a check. And if we try to move closer here, well, here comes the check, followed by taking this, and this will be a draw. So at this position, we have to find something. If you want to pause the video again, go ahead. And welcome back. Okay, so now for real, this is from where this study is getting really interesting. Okay, the winning move, the only winning move here is to play bishop to f7. But we have to play exact because black has some genius traps set up for us, which we mustn't fall into. Okay, so we're attacking the rook, and now black has some options. If he playing rook e7 right away, check. This looks interesting move, of course. We are moving our king away, and we are allowing him to take our bishop like this. And this is fairly easy one for white. We promote with a check. We are a queen against a rook, but we're also an extra pawn. So that's no problem. That's an easy win. But the thing is, after we play king b6, black doesn't take our bishop. Instead, he's playing this genius move, king h6. And this looks like an easy win for white, doesn't it? But it's really not. Okay, can you see why? And can you see how you play here? Again, it's only one move winning for white. Okay, here we go. We cannot promote this to a queen because that puts black king into a stalemate position. Everything is covered here with the pieces, so he will just start checking. And it turns out, I'm not going to show you 100 checks here, white cannot escape this eternal checks from the black rook. Sooner or later we have to go to the 50 move rule or just take these this rook, and we will have to settle for a draw. So instead, after black plays king h6, we of course under promote this to a knight with a check and a check to the rook, so to say. And this is winning for white. We just, yeah, we put our knight here, and it will come down to e3, and then just bring our king closer somewhere and help this pawn promote. So that's a very diabolic trap black can set up. And if he doesn't play this right away, he has another great move, another great defense, which is rook d8. Okay, the question is now, again, how do we continue from here? Well, we have to move our king. The problem is, if we move the king to b7, again, this is going to be a draw because now black will attack our pawn with king h6, and now the under promotion to a knight doesn't help. Uh, Black can just ignore it, go back here, attacking both pieces, and of course now we are in trouble as white. So we're not going to go into that one. And if we promote to a queen, well, it's going to be a check here, and it's going to be followed by checks here or here, and again it's going to be a draw in the end because of the stalemate situation. So the problem is here, of course, that we cannot go with the king to b7. So we cannot allow this check. Instead, we go with the king to b6. Now, there is a difference, of course. Black will still go to h6. Just look at this. If he goes to f6, then it's no problem. There's no checks. This is not a stalemate. So this is an easy win for us. He has to take it. And when he attacks the pawn, we simply go back. So that's no problem. The problem is what happens when black goes with his king to h6. Now, you've seen what happens if we promote this to a queen. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the check. We look at this. It's going to be a stalemate in the end. Uh, Black will just chase us with his rook. So we have to come up with something else after king h6. And that is, of course, to promote, but not under promote to a knight, but to a rook. This is great. This is enough to win. And let me just show you why we couldn't do this after king b7 and king h6. Now, if we would have under promoted to a rook, well, then we put our king and bishop in the same rank. That will have followed with a check, and we will lose our bishop. And this is not material enough for us to win. The king will be blocked out. The rook will just move around the f rank, and we cannot help this pawn to promote. This is a draw. So that's why we had to play at this point king b6, then king h6, and then under promote to a rook. And from here, this is an easy win. Of course, we can take there and go back. And if it tries to wiggle it with some checks here, or perhaps attacking the bishop, we cannot play the bishop here, of course, because of the fork. But we can do some other moves. We can start with a check up here, perhaps another check, and well, you see what happens here. This is an easy win also. Then we can just attack with the king. the bishop and the pawn will be good enough to win with the extra material after this position is reached. So, after the under promotion to a rook, black simply resigns and admits that we played this genius. He did what it could to stop us, but he didn't manage. And if you find this solution all the way from the beginning, well, then you're a genius for sure. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you thought it was worth the while to wait until the end of this video to see all these fantastic moves. Thank you for watching. See you again another day. Bye bye.